My name is Inmaculada Farfán Velasco. I come from the Publications Office of the European Union. So I come from the EU public sector bubble. I work for the European Commission, and we work on the open data implementation of different projects. So today I'm going to talk about open data, falling for digital innovation. During these days of conference, I had the opportunity to learn a lot from you all here in the room. I learned about data spaces, data ecosystems, many different initiatives from the academic or private sector. The thing is that they all had something in common, and it's the fact of data sharing and the importance of bringing data to a next value and really trying to publish it and share it with another stakeholder. So open data, the thing I'm going to talk about today, is data sharing at its peak. So it's the highest level of data sharing that you can find, which means that it gives access to citizens to use it, to access it, reuse it, and distribute it. So I'm going to introduce you to this concept, to the benefits of it, what's in for you, and also to the work of the data.europa.eu, the official portal of European data. No. Ah, okay. Okay, thank you for introduction. Okay, that's great. Okay, so yes, we are living in a moment of an explosion of information. I think we all are very much aware about that. There's an explosion of information, explosion of data out there. There's a lot of production of data, and at the same time, there's a lot of demand of data from citizens. Together with this, there has to be a change on the mindset from enterprises. They are reevaluating the way they do strategies. They're reevaluating their business models in order to grasp the opportunities that this has. Together with it, there are also like innovative changing environments accordingly, and companies, enterprises, governments, public sector, we need to anticipate ourselves to know what's next, what's coming, and how to actually act accordingly to it. But we can see that there's like a shift of mindset. There's a shift on the behavior of the people. So we can say that we're driving towards a data use culture. So we see that there's like explosion of information, there's data supply, data demand, but this is not one standing alone initiative. It has to come as a constellation of practices, a constellation of actions from the private sector, from the academic sector, from the public sector, government, in order to really tackle and to really get profit of these opportunities. So more precisely on the benefits of open data, very generally. So it gives economic growth and job creation, because by data sharing, you will be able to innovative on products and services and have new opportunities in the market. I think it's something we were discussing during these days of the conference. In terms of public sector, it improves the public services, improves the way that we manage the public spending. It tackles corruption, and it helps really public administrations to work efficiently. This comes together with transparency and accountability. So in terms of the governments, cross-data sharing really helps in many ways. Also, we saw it especially on the sectors of health and in the sector of the transport, how mobility data is really changing in the way we're providing services to citizens. And then, last but not least, very important, there's also the stakeholders engagement component. We're not talking here only about enterprises, but also about citizens and how important it is to provide this data to them in order to make better decisions. Because the better the citizens are informed, the better they're going to be able to make their own decisions. So it's very important that we provide the evidence to them in order to move in this direction. But well, after all this blah, blah, it's very difficult to really understand the benefits, because sometimes we need something measurable, KPIs, to really understand the value that this has. So how can you actually make it in an accountable way? So that's why we have the butterfly effect of open data. So data transforms itself, it reinvents itself, it mixes up with other data sets, until there's a moment that when you see the end product, the end services, you don't recognize the data anymore. So it's very difficult to really understand the impact that this has. So the butterfly effect of open data, I don't know if you watched the movie, it shows how one small action, such as releasing your data and making it open, can really have a major impact on the society. And this is, I'm going to bring it to you with one example. So the Publications Office organizes every year the U-Datathon. So the U-Datathon is a yearly competition on open data. We invite teams, citizens, developers, academia, small enterprises from all around the world to develop innovative apps and services to tackle specific challenges. And this has to be done, and this is one requirement, with EU open data. So open data produced by public administrations, from national governments, local, regional governments, but also the supranational perspective, so Eurostat, Commission, etc. So they have to address specific challenges. So every year we change the challenges So normally we focus on the European Commission priorities, such as the European Green Deal. I'm not going to go into the explanation of the European Green Deal, but it aims to move towards climate neutrality by 2050. And it goes in several actions, several regulation pieces that will affect manufacturing, industry, it will affect transport, and it will also affect economy and how we see economy, because we need to build up a model in which economy can be seen in a more sustainable way, and moving from a linear model in which we just take resources from the planet, we use it and throw them away, to really redirect these resources. So waste is very important in order to really understand circular economy and in order to understand how to bring it to the next level. So some questions that may be placed with the circular economy is, where is the waste coming from? Where is it going? Where is the transport allocated to it? How can we actually reuse these materials in a way that we can reuse and they can become, again, part of the economy? So it seems like a major challenge from governments, very, very high-level political discussions, but actually one team from U-Datathon wanted to make it possible. And this team is GeoFluxus. It's one of the teams that won is the first winning team of U-Datathon 2020. They tackle the challenge European Green Deal. They are the ones on the picture here. So there are some researchers and developers that collected data from different resources, open data. So they use customs, trade data sets, a combination of them, from different resources, from different open data portals, from Eurostat, the Dutch data portal, among many others. So GeoFluxus today started the journey in 2020, and now we can say that it's a sustainable, data-driven company that is really supporting on mapping waste management and is supporting local governments in Netherlands to do this. So, sorry. I want to show the previous slide. There's a video to show how it works. Can you? No? Okay. No problem. I will share with you later. So this is more or less how it would look like. And so they wanted to map waste in a very interactive way, very detailed information, but there was a whole journey in this process. So they had to partner up with a lot of local administration, local governments, public administrations to understand what are the needs, what are they going to be the waste flows, and they created a very interesting visualization tool that is available for you in case you would like to have a look. So in order to explain the data cycle and how important it is to involve all the stakeholders, we can see GeoFluxus is a company. They started as a researchers and developer with the mission of circular economy. And they decided that they wanted to develop a mapping waste tool and creating evidence not only for policymakers to really understand with actions to take in order to manage waste flows. But also enterprises to really find these opportunities and reuse these materials, because if not, they're thrown away. So the process of data cleaning, data processing was very difficult to them. So they made use of data portals that were essential in the process, such as data.europa.eu. And they did a lot of data collection, data mixing, interlinking of data in order to come up with this product. So they work with local governments for that, and with this mapping waste tool, they are supporting local governments and also enterprises. In terms of the platform, they started with Netherlands, but they're expanding, and they're doing some pilot projects for other countries. And actually, we're in contact with them to see how we can provide this data supply in order to expand their businesses. And with this, in the whole process, they also help public administrations to understand how to tackle circular economy from a more proactive manner. And public administrations had feedback from GeoFluxus, that is finally a data user, on how to improve the dataset that were published. Because at the end, you publish the dataset, but you need to also understand, like have some feedback loop. You need to get some feedback from the users. And all these public administration datasets were published on the portal. So the main takeaways were from this project was that data sharing and data quality were essential for the success of the project. So we can see here that they didn't partner up only with Eurostat datasets or with other local governments. They needed to bring them all on board. It's very essential that when we are producing something, it fits the purpose. So who is going to use this, and for which, what are the main questions, what are the main needs that they may have? So partnering up with local governments and stakeholders in the process really help them to really have a tool that currently they are using now. Data reuse initiatives such as competition, conferences such as this one, have a multi-sided effects to different sectors of our economy. And that cycle has demonstrated here all the multiplied effects and benefits of open data. But how important it is as well to have all the actors together, public, private, administration, citizens, in the whole process. But all of this is possible if you have a connector between all this information sharing. And this is where data.europa.eu plays a role. So data.europa.eu, known before as the European Data Portal, was set up a long time ago by the European Commission to help to implement EU open data and reuse policies under legal acts by EU institutions and EU member states. So data.europa.eu rebranding is starting in 2000, last year, but the history has come long time ago. In terms of data sharing and open data, we have more legislative background that, for example, data spaces. There's some regulation at both national level and EU institutions. So what we're doing is we're working on the implementation of this legal basis. So the European countries, national governments we're working with, they have to transpose the PSI directive, making their data available, and they're using us for this. And on the other side, we have the EU institutions and agencies that are the supranational bodies. They have to implement their own policies and their own regulations, such as, for example, the Commission. We have the reuse decision for that. And they implemented the work on the data, and they publish it through data.europa.eu. So data.europa.eu is not mainly a repository of data sets, but it's a catalog of metadata, which means that we mix up all the data coming from different portals, we harvest them, and we work on interoperability and the data quality, and we use metadata standards in order to facilitate the cross-sharing of information. So we have a very wide community, and we're still trying to create and to shape these personas. So we did a survey not a long time ago on who are these people. So we have public administration, researchers, developers, journalists, private companies. So we wanted to understand who are you, why are you coming to us, and how can we actually serve you better. So we created some sort of personas, and the idea is to really develop services for them, because at the end of the day, it's a public service, and we're supposed to fit everyone's needs. So how it works in practice, data.eu is a portal for European data, but there's way more than that. And we're still expanding our services, and we're still evolving, so it's something very positive, because at the end of the day, we understand that providing citizen-centric services is essential, and we need to communicate with you all in order to do it. So there's like a lot of discussion on how we can do that, and like if you compare the portal from 1 year ago to now, you can see that there are like so many improvements and more to come. So in data access, we provide access to public data from Europe in a single access point. We have around 36 countries publishing, which means that it's outside of the European Union scope. It's not only member states, but also other European countries. Also, your institutions, agencies, and bodies. We work on metadata supply and quality. It's not only like harvesting all the data sets and mix them all together in the portal. We really have to work on data management and data quality in order to ensure excellent, like a good product. So we're having like discussions with our data providers, EU member states and other countries to publish metadata in the Open Data portal in an harmonized manner, because at the end of the day, it's very important to work on the interoperability of these data assets. But talking something else, that data, we also want to create a kind of an open data community. So here, data reuse is very important. So we organize competitions, we organize webinars, conferences. We are very active on social media, and we want to communicate what open data can do for you at different levels. So we create pieces of data stories. Every month we create new pieces. We have calendars that are trying to reconnect. And we're really trying to create some collaboration between all the entities. And then this comes together with data literacy. We need to improve like the general data literacy skills in Europe. So we're providing, according to these personas, one specific material for them. So this means it would be like the Data Europa Academy. Okay, so as I was saying before, we're constantly evolving. We move towards a new design, the European Commission design. The best way to understand how it works is like that you go to the website and you check it out yourself. Just a few messages before I finish. I would then reallocate all the services into 4. So one would be data access. So it would be like the access to information. We give access to 1.5 million data sets from 36 countries, 80 publishers from European institutions, agencies, and bodies, and we try to make it interoperable as possible, and it's there for you. We really provide learning material, so we created these personas, we're translated into the academy, and you're going to see some improvements in the future. We're going to launch specific courses, packages of information, depending on the different users that we have. So private companies may have like a training course on how I can introduce data into my company. Some SMEs who want to have some opportunities with data, we can share some use cases, some examples. So we try to bring a solution to everybody. Then it's very important to continue on the research part. So you will find a lot of studies, country insights, the Open Data Maturity Report, that is an assessment on how open data, on how countries are dealing with open data standards and how they are implementing it. And then we try to connect. So we try to be as proactive as possible. We want to hear from you, and we would like to translate it into something tangible that can be useful. So with this, I invite you to go through the website. You can follow us on all the platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Of course, if you have questions, feel free to contact us. And yes, thank you very much.